Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're creating this all matte eyeshadow look using the Sephora Pro matte palette in the shade Warm. I really like how it came out. I hope you guys love it as much as I do. And before I waste any more of your time, let's just go ahead and get started. Okay, so don't mind how I brought in 2018 with a big ginormous blemish. So let's just skip over that part. But I went ahead and already primed my lids using the Smashbox Photo Finish Lid Primer. You guys know this is my favorite. I also already finished most of this eye as well, just so I could figure out what I was going to do for my look. So the first thing we're gonna do is go into the Sephora Pro palette. This is in the Warm shade palette. It's this beautiful palette if you haven't already seen it. It's stunning, it's gorgeous. There's shimmers, metallics, mattes. They're all super smooth, they're really pigmented. I really like their palettes. So I'm just going to take a flat shadow brush and I'm going to pick up this shade right here in the palette, this like matte bone shade. And I'm just going to press this right over top of my entire lid. This will kind of help take away any stickiness or tackiness from that shadow primer. So it will help me blend out other colors when we apply them. Hopping back into the palette, I'm going to pick up this shade right here. It's a really nice matte, medium skin tone, peachy transition shade. So I'm going to be running this through my crease, just using windshield wiper motions. And I kind of wanted to do something matte today, so as you'll notice on this eye, we don't have any shimmer on our eye. Just wanted to do something a little bit more matte. Using the same crease brush, I'm gonna go right below that shade and pick up this warm brown orangey matte shade, tapping off the excess. And I'm gonna be running this just a little bit lower than that first shade that we just used on the lid. Again, using windshield wiper motion, so just working from left to right. And then from here, I'm gonna pick up another crease brush. This is the Morphe M433 brush. Hopping back into the palette, I'm going to pick up this really deep, like brick red, mauve tone. And what I'm going to be doing is literally packing this right directly onto the lid. This shade is so pretty. When it goes on the lid, it almost looks a little bit more burgundy color, which I was hoping that's what it would look like. And it did, so I love this color. And then once we pack it on, I'm going to start diffusing out the edges and working it up into the crease, packing on a little bit more color. And then once we get to the crease, I'm going to dust off any more excess product and then just diffuse out the edges. And then once you have that shade packed on there, I'm going to go in with a clean crease brush and just lightly diffuse out the edges on the top here. And then I'm going to go back into the crease brush that we used the first two crease shades with. This is the Morphe M573. I'm going to go back into that crease color that we used and help that dark maroony shade blend out. So I'm just running this directly into the crease again, just so that that dark maroon shade has something to blend into. And then we're gonna go back into the palette and pick up that dark maroon shade again and just pack it on. So, and with deeper eyes, you're gonna have to work in steps. So don't feel discouraged when you have to go back and forth, because that is the way that you should do it. Otherwise, it'll get really crazy really fast. So I'm just packing it on and then I'll lightly diffuse it out. And then once you have that perfected, we're going to hop back into the palette and pick up that very first shade that we used to set down that primer. And I'm going to highlight the brow bone. And to prep my lashes before I go in with falsies, I'm going to use the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. I'm going to pop this on my top lashes and then we'll put on some falsies. Okay, and then for my liner, I'm going to use the Smashbox Always Sharp Liner in Raven. This is the black one. I'm going to line my waterline. And then while the glue is drying, obviously on my falsies, I'm going to work on the rest of the face. So to prime my face, I'm going to be using my favorite. This is the Smashbox Radiance Primer. I use about a pea-sized amount and massage this into the skin. And for my foundation, because I'm pretty tan right now, I'm going to be using the Smashbox Studio Skin Foundation in the shade 2.2. This is like the only one that I have on hand right now that is going to match me. Because I did self-tan last night, so my body is a lot darker than the rest of my face, clearly. But I'm going to be using that on a EcoTools sponge here. And I'm going to be using the egg-shaped bottom and just taking a few pumps of this and applying this to my face. And then definitely going over that massive spot right there. I have Mount St. Helens on my face, ready to erupt. That was gross, sorry. And making sure to blend it all the way down here, especially if you are someone who self-tans, because you don't want to end up with like a demarcation line between your self-tanner and your face. I don't like to tan my face because I tend to break out no matter what I use on my face, so I just don't like having any product that isn't necessary. And I'm also going to go over my ears because clearly my ear is also a whole different shade than the rest of my body. And I know that on camera this might look dark, but once we put our concealer and everything, it will all come together and blend out. So make sure that you don't forget to blend all the way back here and over the ears. So I like to go right on the jawline just to make sure it is blended down here. Man, my skin is so dry right now. It's like really windy again here in Portland, so my skin, every time it's really windy, it just goes haywire. And then my knuckles, again, are like having issues. They're starting to start to bleed again, which is super great. So for my concealer, I'm gonna be using my favorite. This is the Smashbox Studio Skin Concealer. It is waterproof. This is in the shade Light. And I am going to highlight the rest of my face so that my foundation starts to look more normal. I'm gonna conceal a little bit right here. I look crazy. I'm gonna use that sponge again. I'm gonna use the small little flat side right here and press this into the skin. And to finish off the base of my foundation, I'm going to be setting my face using the Too Faced I Want Candy setting powder. This is in Banana Pudding. You guys know that I just use this on a big fluffy brush and just set my entire face. I'm gonna go ahead and bronze my face using my favorite bronzer at the moment. This is by Physicians Formula. This is their Butter Bronzer. Bronze up my face. Do you guys have any New Year's resolutions for 2018? I'm not usually one to sit down and actually write down everything that I want to accomplish, which I don't know if is a good thing or a bad thing, but I feel like sometimes if you have way too many things, how does it not feel overwhelming? I don't know, because I've never done it, so I couldn't really tell you how I would feel doing it. But if you have resolutions for this year, I'd love to hear what you have to say in the comments. I do have a few things that I would love to accomplish this year, business-wise. Other than that, that's about as far as I've gotten. I'm going to be using the Anastasia Beverly Hills palette. This is the collection that they came out with in collaboration with Nicole Guerrero. Sorry, I don't think that you can really see it on camera, but it's this beautiful package. I'm going to be using my favorite highlighter brush, which is the Morphe M510 brush. I'm going to pick up these two shades right here in the palette. This is Glow Getter and this is 143. And I'm going to be popping this on the tops of my cheekbones. A little bit on my nose. That was a lot on my nose. If that ever happens to you, as you'll notice, I'm taking my sponge that I applied to my foundation and concealer, and I'm just lightly going over top of it, and it really does tone down anything that maybe got a little bit too highlighted for you. And I'm just going to take whatever is left on the brush right above my brows right here. For blush, I'm going to be using the Wet n Wild Color Iconic blush in the shade Pearlescent Pink. They have the best blushes. Are you kidding? There we go. I'm just going to be taking that on a dual fiber brush, tapping off any excess, and just running this right on my cheeks. For my lips today, I'm going to be using one of my favorite liquid lipsticks. This is also by Smashbox. This is in the shade Out Loud. Smashbox's liquid lipsticks are honestly, hands down, definitely one of my top 3 brands that have the best liquid lipsticks. They have a primer oil built inside. It's actually this guy right here. You guys know that this was in This is definitely one of my favorites. It's the Smashbox Primer Oil, and because it's a dry oil, it just penetrates down into the deeper layers of the skin. It makes everything so hydrated, plump, and smooth. So having that inside of a liquid lipstick is like dream come true. It's amazing. It's super smooth. It's really moussey. It dries down completely matte. It definitely wears 8 to 10 hours for me. I'm obsessed. I love it. So I'm going to be using this shade today. I wanted to go something a little bit warm and orangey. And then to finish off the look, I'm going to set my face using the Tarte Ready Set Radiant Setting Spray. This is my jam. And then once I apply that, I like to fan my face because I feel like it definitely locks it in quicker, keeps it on all day long, and it just makes it look really nice and smooth, like quicker, if that makes any sense. And that's it, you guys. That completes this look. I really hope that you guys enjoyed. Be sure to leave a comment down below what you'd like to see next. And until next time, I'll see you soon.